My name is Shelon Rudofadzi. I'm the Pastoral Care Coordinator for the Anglican Diocese of Harare. Today we had a time with the youth for our climate change campaign under the theme Waste Smart We Care. We were privileged to have the Forestry Commission Board Chairperson, Mrs. Jakaras, who gave a talk on the climate change and the importance of planting trees. Our chaplain for the diocese, Reverend Father Madzime, was amongst us, and he talked to us about waste and pollution. Our spiritual overseer, Reverend Father Tamboga Manjengo, was also with us, and he gave us an insight on the campaign where the church is encouraged to be the voice in the society against climate change. Thank you very much.
And then also from a agriculture perspective, that's the issue of food security. There is what we call climate smart agriculture technology and practices, which I think are very important when it comes to promoting sustainable agriculture. So the whole aspect of sustainability, I think it's a very important piece if you talk about climate change. Why is it important that we take care of our communities, in our environment to benefit us, but also cognizant of the future generation. So your intergenerational equity and your intergenerational equality and your environmental justice and your environmental peace. So it's around understanding that we need to close the gap between the poor and the rich. So according to climate change, I'm told that we have enough resources for everyone. But the challenge is that capitalism, people have become selfish. Our level of consumerism is different. So as a result, the gap between the rich and the poor continues to increase. And the poor become more poor and the richer become more richer. But in terms of building our policies and also even our strategies, we need to be cognizant about how do we close this inequality gap? How do we close inequity elements from the poor and the rich? Because you can imagine if one person in America uses energy that is sufficient for all of us here, yet we could all share, the energy source and still allow the environment to operate in a way that benefits all of us. So that is another challenge. We need to start understanding the issues of environmental justice. What is fair and how can we reach to that fairness? And is it possible? In terms of consumerism, the aspects of waste management, somebody slept without eating, but somebody actually threw away a whole pot of wasted food. So how do we become sustainable even in the way we consume our food? Basic bathing at home, water. Somebody showers 100 liters because until the water is cold or until his eyes burn, But is that sustainable? So we need to actually start thinking around what are the climate smart solutions across different sectors that we can start promoting. Looking at mining sector, how do we start looking at land afforestation and reforestation, reclaiming that land? And I think that would be a good initiative even for the church to do. Identify areas that need afforestation and reforestation. Identify schools where you can do community gardens. You can then also start mapping those, taking care of them, and over time begin to claim carbon credits. And then you use those incomes to improve the lifestyles of those that are vulnerable to a changing climate. So you can actually start looking at what are the different opportunities and what are the different solutions that we can offer as the youth in terms of climate change. And basic capacity building and awareness is an important piece. So you can look at different programs, different sectors, different awareness initiatives, and also what you can do within your own space. So it's across different sectors. You can understand looking at day-to-day living. How do I become climate smart? that running water has to be powered or pumped somewhere using energy. So that is not sustainable. So in terms of an individual lifestyle, where you can start understanding as an individual what are the climate smart practices and technologies that I begin to take up to support the work that I do. So that is very, very important in terms of understanding lifestyles and opportunities. Then the other element that you also may want to focus on is the issue around loss of livelihoods. How has climate change affected people's lives? We gave an example of people beginning to move to South Africa because agriculture is no longer productive. But what are the other different sustainable livelihood options that we can begin to proffer for those communities? You can look at things like beekeeping. So you take care of your forest, you keep your bees, you do your honey production. Angola on its own needs about 20,000 kgs of honey, but we don't have a capacity to supply them. So the market is there, but what it needs is also to look for the productive elements and the solutions that we can proffer. And the good thing about the moment people realize that they are getting some level of income, instead of burning the forest, they actually will be looking around for any invaders into the forest to say, did you see him? What was he doing? Who is he? The community begins to take care of its own resources. So it becomes a climate smart way of addressing the deforestation challenge, but also of creating some levels of income and providing a livelihood to a society. And this goes also even to non-timber forest products. I actually have a young man from Lupane. They call themselves Lupane boys. So they produce juices from wild foods like your tuvu, your mee, and all that. So at the end of the day, the community then begins to understand the value of the non-timber forest products, the fruits that they get, and also some sources of energy and stuff that they then use. So at the end of the day, because they are seeing some income coming from the forest around them, they then tend to take care of those forests. So the non-timber forest product is also another opportunity. And then the aspect of value chain, understanding the use of technologies within either the forestry value chain, the agriculture value chain, and then looking for different technologies that you can manage and ensure that you provide or reduce even losses of crops. I'll give you an example of tomatoes. We have a lot of people from Togo and Rewa who come to Harare to bring in tomatoes. But we say because of the changing climate, we are seeing increase in what? In heat waves. And so your temperatures are going up. So you can imagine when they bring their tomatoes to Mbare, by end of day or in 2 days' time, they start going bad. So they don't get value for money. But we now have technology such as your solar drying system. So you are able to then say for those tomatoes that are almost going bad, you either begin to start drying them and convert them into fruit. I was actually shocked when I was in Cape Town. There are schools which actually encourage that.
Burning of fossil fuels, gases in our old refrigerators, when we count them. When there are chemicals that go up there, bromine and chlorine, which will then attack the atoms of those, will then attack the molecules of ozone. And as the distribution. So, having said all that, let's get down to basics. Where we're now talking of waste management. And as champions, we would want to go with this maybe 4-5 hours. Refuse, reuse, recycle, repurpose. So the first one is refuse. And I love with Kenya, Rwanda, and I feel so safe in my own country. Because there was a time when we banned materials, use of materials, and then they were there. And I look at the around those chairs and I see these plastic bottles and I say, ooh, that's tragic. Because we asked us to refuse the single-use plastics. We asked us to refuse to use these plastics. Yes, we have a water end there for hand washing. There is cholera around the corner. But then hand washing, we should also have a water end for the water we drink and glasses of drink water from. Rather than these. What's right? How many have we used? After this has been used, they are gathered and dumped somewhere. And the next thing, when they've been dumped, they are lit up, the fire is lit, and when they burn, they get into huge lumps, which you have no way to dispose of them. And that those areas will let those huge lumps dry up there. And then the rest of the other plastics, when you compare the plastic to banana peel will just dissipate and get in the ground, becomes part of the ground, becomes manure. But the plastic will, as the heat works on it, it will break into small pieces, into microplastics. It rains and then the microplastics get into the water, into the sea, and then there is plankton, vegetation you see, which takes the plastic, and then the fish will take the plankton, and then the fish will be taken by you and me, and they are feeding on plastic which we have used here. So we want to refuse the use of plastic. And if we just change, refuse use of plastics, we will stop getting to buy this from whoever produces them. And eventually encourage them to put that water in glass bottles. And now we have paid my drinks in plastic. We used to have my Coca-Cola bottle where you go to the shop, pay a deposit and take it home, and you always bring it back for recycling. It's reusable. So we are saying reuse the bottle which is glass, unlike this. So refuse plastic. So I say Kenya and Rwanda, they have carry bags. When you go to the shop, items are placed in the carry bag. So here, you, me, and my sister, the rest of us, if we get into the shop, they want to put it in the paper. It's not. Chop is, they want to place it there. You know, say, no, please, I got my own bag, carry bag. You use your own carry bag from home. Refuse that. And if we, as a nation, eventually refuse, that will make them change. But then you as advocates are to talk about this, what we are saying to powers that we say, yeah, we need to change. Exchange carambas, we say refuse, it will work. And then reuse, some items are reusable, we have talked of the glass containers, and then we recycle some of them, and then we repurpose. There are items that come for a specific use, but which we can change and be innovative, put into another use, and then there is less waste. We encourage the use of renewable energy. Solar power, hydroelectricity, magic. Because of this climate change, our lake Caribbean hydroelectricity, it's just magic. We'll stop here, and I'm sure we'll have another chance to talk. So there's so much to talk about. So thank you very much.
How does the earth mourn or weep? How do you think outside the box? How does the earth weep or mourn? Okay, fine. I'll ask another question. When there are floods, what is the earth doing?
We have droughts.
Uh-huh.
Clean air.
Mhm.
Because some people say it's
It's fine. How does the earth mourn or weep? Yeah.
Because I try to believe that the earth or the ecosystem services that it offers to us as human beings.
Mhm.
And when we damage
Mm.
that, I think the earth stops to give us those services, stops to provide those services. So I think that is the way the earth can do that.
Anyone else is burning? But there are many ways and faults that they can show. When the natural course of the environment is disturbed, usually, already the next thing is that the earth is going to either wither away or it's going to mourn. Right? And I was giving you a perfect example. A flood. For us, it's a flood. But for the earth, it is mourning. It is showing that something is not right. Do you know? The nature in itself alone has no problems. Nature alone. Would you be, what would you think would have happened if we then start finding ourselves Tani, Shumba, and Zo, Zinegate Fintan? What do you think would have happened? What can be caused? Tokutanga kusangana. Ngatsa shanse shumba. Kana kusangana ninyoka chazi marai. Nasi apa nyoka apa mabana nyoka apa mabana nyoka. Jura.
Destroyed.
There is someone who has gone and disturbed where they usually stay. And when they come where you are staying, instead of returning them back where they're supposed to stay, we kill them. This one is. Uswa test no tora. Test no cheka. This one is excessive. Toka tawa na okubi. Kumba. This one is. Isusu test no gazira. As environmental activists, when you touch plastic, you should ask yourself, is it recyclable? If it cannot be recycled, as an environmentalist, you're not supposed to use it because it means that it is going to go somewhere and disturb the earth somewhere, somehow. Recently, I was watching a documentary of the seabed and how it has been destroyed by plastic. Usually, this has become one of the worst enemies of the environment, especially water bodies. Usually. So from the Old Testament, we are learning two things that are happening, that happen to the earth because of human beings or because of waste pollution. The earth mourns, the earth wakes away. It dies away. If it's not dying away, it shows signs of mourning. Usually. Or if it goes to change, usually. And you're going to see that those things sometimes we explain them away, and yet they come out of what humanity did done. So, if you find around where we stay, be it high density or low density, what are you likely to meet up at every corner? What are you most likely, 99 out of 100%, every corner in every high density, what are you going to meet up? A dump site. This is. And this is almost like a common cause for us. Visually, that dump site, those dump sites, is the earth not mourning? It's a sign that the earth is what? Is mourning, usually. And it's also a sign that the earth is also what? Is withering away. Right? Now, I'm not going to go to other issues, but how long must the earth or the land mourn? How long? That is what Jeremiah chapter 12, verse 4 was talking about. Right? There is a scholar here who's called Jürgen Moltmann. He points out Genesis chapter 1, verse 28, which says, event which need to be interpreted. What does Genesis chapter 1, verse 28 say?
Okay, Genesis chapter 1, verse 28.
Then God blessed and said, be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth and govern it, reign over the fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, and all the animals that scurry along.
And in other translations, it actually says subdue it. You know what I mean? And we've literally taken subdue as do everything to destroy it. You know what I mean? And many other things that then happen. But in actual fact, Psalm 24, verse 1 and 2 says, the earth is the Lord and all that fills it, the world and all its inhabitants. So, human participation of love and justice is necessary to maintain creation and cosmos. Waste and pollution. Land, water, air, and wildlife are affected by urbanization due to high human density, which then causes high demand on resources. The environment is impacted or mourns and withers away in several ways, which include: number 1, solid waste; number 2, water supply; number 3, sanitation; number 4, air quality. Visually.
Hey, my name is Laina Muzembe. I came from St. Luke's Mfakosi Parish, Area 4. Okay, today we learned about climate change, the effects of climate change and the importance of trees, of planting trees in Zimbabwe. Also, we are working with the theme of Waste Smart We Care campaign for climate change in partnership with Anglican Diocese of Harare. We also learned that we also learned that we have to, as youth, we have to advocate for climate change in our society. We have to work with other online ministries to help us advocate for climate change in our society. That's all.
My name is Anthony Mazula, and I'm the incoming Vice President for the Anglican Youth Association of Harare. And we are here at the Cathedral of St. Mary's and All Saints for the training, running under the mantra, Waste Smart We Care, which is an inception training or meeting, so to say, to just bring together young people who are passionate about climate change issues, who are passionate about waste management, who are also passionate about pollution issues as well. So we had very prominent presenters coming in, and also people who have been running and pushing the environmental management agenda in the diocese and beyond. And I think it was a very, very informative session, and we benefited a lot. And it is my wish and recommendation to each and every one of the youth members in the Anglican Youth Association in Harare to also take up this initiative and push the agenda. And to all those who have been trained, I believe they have been equipped with adequate knowledge to push this agenda in their areas and respective parishes. So I think this is a good start to a very wonderful program. Thank you so much.